This CPD seminar aims to enable listeners to make informed choices when specifying wall and floor tiling in swimming pools and leisure areas, by considering the impact that tiles, backgrounds and finished environments will have on the adhesive and grout specification. It will also demonstrate how to avoid common installation failures through optimum product specification and guidance on best practice. Having listened to this CPD, the audience should feel confident about selecting appropriate solutions in most situations. Before commencing the CPD, we'd just like to set the scene regarding ARDEX. Still a family-owned business, ARDEX Group employs approximately 1,600 employees across 50 sites and has global sales in excess of £450 million. ARDEX has been at the forefront of the UK market for flooring and tiling products for 50 years, servicing the market from its manufacturing base in Haverhill, Suffolk. Being ISO 9001 accredited, you can rely on the fact that all ARDEX products are manufactured to a recognised quality standard. We also take every appropriate step we can to minimise our impact on the environment. Our new products have been formulated to achieve greater coverage so that less product is required during installation. And serious consideration is given to the sources of raw materials we use. ARDEX provides customers with quality products and a technical support network you can rely on. Our guiding principle is to have excellence in all that we do, no matter how big or small the job. Tiles create an excellent finish for most leisure environments. Tiles are frequently specified within swimming pools and surrounding leisure environments, be it competition swimming pools, hydrotherapy pools, spa areas or the changing rooms. Tiling provides a durable and aesthetic solution when specified and installed correctly. Swimming pools and wet areas can be aggressive environments, so it's important to consider the water balance, pool chemicals and cleaning regimes. We'll look at how these issues can influence your specification choices of tiles, preparation products, adhesives and grouts, and review best practice installation guidance to allow you to provide not only an aesthetically pleasing design solution, but also a durable solution for your clients, which performs technically in these demanding environments for years to come. ARDEX are the specialists in tiling in swimming pools and leisure areas. You can rely on our ongoing support with your specifications. We work closely with the Tile Association, the TTA, and the British Adhesives and Sealants Association, BASA, to promote professionalism, technical standards and best practice as documented in detail in BS 5385 and Code of Practice 8000. The Tile Association is a source of useful information relating to tiling, and more specifically provide a useful paper called Design and Construction Process for Swimming Pools, which is available for purchase online. The design and method of construction for swimming pools must meet BS 8007 1987 and be in accordance with BS 5385 Part 4, Code of Practice for Tiling and Mosaics in Specific Conditions, and other applicable codes of practice. Particularly when specifying tiling for wet areas and swimming pools, it's important to consider safety in your choice of tile. We will discuss slip resistance later in this CPD. Aesthetics. Although the tile design appearance is important, consideration to colour also affects safe specification, such as not specifying dark colours on a pool floor. Examples of leisure areas vary, from competition pools, which tend to be a standard rectangular 25 or 50 metre design. Of course, precision in tiling dimensions can be critical here. Leisure pools. These are freeform designs. Some incorporate water chutes, complex curves, wave machines and simulated beaches, all of which can put unique demands on the tiling. Hydrotherapy pools, which allow orthopedic or physiotherapy exercise. Health clubs, hotels, domestic, such as spa areas, jacuzzis, power showers, steam rooms, sauna floors. A pool complex may have many areas with differing demands. Areas may be Water retaining, that is totally immersed. Consider water balance and pool chemicals. Wet areas. Consider safety, adequate drainage, waterproofing and cleaning regimes. Dry areas. Consider general requirements relating to backgrounds, tile types and adhesive grout specifications. Beach areas, which are more vulnerable to erosion of grouts under aggressive water conditions or cleaning regimes. All of these areas will have differing demands on the product specification relating to tiling. National building specification clauses provide best practice, guidance and support for your tiling specifications. M40 covers stone, concrete, quarry, ceramic tiling and mosaic. M41 covers terrazzo tiling and in situ terrazzo. It's also important to understand the tile types available and how they will impact on your specification choice of adhesive and grout, particularly when specifying in wet locations. Let's take a look at why. Tiles are the best choice in a leisure area when installed with the right adhesive and grout. Although some areas can be demanding, the specification needn't be. The tiling industry started fixing in sand and cement. Today's tiles and situations demand high-performance adhesives, with products and technical backup you can trust. Apart from the aesthetics of the design finish, there are a number of suitability factors to consider when choosing tiles, such as: how appropriate is the background base for the situation? For example, in a pool hall, vulnerable background should be avoided and concrete blockwork or render should be specified. Will the background or base support the tiling? We will cover this in the common background section. Consider the weight of the tile. Will the adhesive strongly adhere to the tile and background? Consider the tile and background properties, including water absorbency. How appropriate are your tiles for the situation in which they will be specified? Swimming pools and wet locations are particularly demanding environments. Apart from aesthetics, it's important to consider the following factors when selecting tiles for your specification. All glazed floor tiles are classified under a Porcelain Enamel Institute (PEI) rating for the suitability of the location relating to wear. The Tile Association can provide additional information regarding the testing of tiles, as can the tile manufacturer or stockist. However, in the case of wet locations, water absorption, chemical, abrasion and slip resistance are major factors to consider when specifying tiling. The Tile Association has published a useful technical guide called The Slip Resistance of Hard Floor Coverings, which can be purchased from their website. Let's take a look at common tile types. Ceramic tiles. Historically in the UK, the majority of standard wall tiles have glazed porous bodies with a water absorption between 10% and 20%. When glazed, they are suitable for a wide range of internal applications. However, due to their porosity, they are not frost-resistant and should only be used in internal conditions above sub-zero temperatures. Glazed ceramics are not generally suitable for heavily trafficked areas. Unglazed ceramics are more suitable for wet areas and are typically used in commercial situations. The body of these tiles allows some water absorption, therefore, as a general rule, are appropriate for fixing with dispersion adhesives, dependent on size, weight. Fully vitrified porcelain tiles are characterized by their very low water absorbency. They are extremely versatile and hard-wearing. However, due to their low water absorbency, a highly polymer modified cement-based adhesive would always be the preferred option with these tiles. However, in some cases, for example, when specifying small wall tiles and mosaics, a dispersion product may be appropriate. Always check if in doubt. Vitrified and porcelain tiles with a water absorption less than 3% can be used in conditions subject to frost. for example, exterior use. Vitrified and semi-vitrified tiles. Although the porosity of the tile is not as low as porcelain, we cannot rely on porosity of the materials to enable the bonding, so we still need to specify a highly polymer-modified adhesive here. Agglomerated stone tiles, previously referred to as conglomerate stone, tend to look like polished granite or terrazzo. The tiles are made by mixing marble or granite chips with polyester or epoxy resin. These are important to identify, as sometimes the resin can be attacked by cement and/or absorb moisture, which may cause the tile to expand. Natural stone tiles. For the last decade, the popularity of natural stone has increased. Natural stone adhesives have been formulated to address the main considerations when fixing these tiles. Common natural stone types are travertine, marble, limestone, slate, granite. All have unique considerations when specifying, generally due to their chemical composition, water absorbency, size and thickness, and surface texture. Some natural stones, due to their water absorbency, may not be an ideal first choice when specifying in wet locations. Further detail on natural stone specifications is covered in our CPD seminar on this subject. Remember that unique, high-performance fiber-reinforced technology products are suitable for all these tile types. The choice of tiles or mosaics for utilization in swimming pools and other submerged areas is an application which demands careful consideration prior to specification, and further guidance is provided by the tile manufacturers, the TTA, and in BS 5835. Essentially, the tiles need to be technically fit for purpose, and they should have a low water absorption of 3% or preferably less. Mosaics are very popular in the leisure sector and may be ceramic, stone or glass types. They are typically supplied on sheets. There are more considerations when specifying mosaics, such as mosaics are fixed in a thin bed of adhesive. With glass mosaics and translucent tiles, a white, high-performance or reaction resin adhesive would be recommended. Mosaics tend to be either mesh-back or plastic or paper-faced. It's essential that any backing mesh and its water-resistant glue does not occupy more than 25% of the area of each tesserae. Also, the glue holding the paper on the paper-faced mosaics must remove easily from the face of the mosaics. Backgrounds for tiling, tiles and the situations we place tiling in are constantly changing through a mix of new technology and fashion trends. Yet all these factors influence the choice of tile adhesive or grout and the specification. Let's firstly take a look at the basic principles of how a tile adhesive forms a bond. It's worth reviewing basic adhesion principles here. There are three main types of ceramic tiling adhesives: dispersion, cement-based, and reaction resin. The first two are the most common. The reason it's worth taking a moment to talk about them is because they develop adhesion in different ways. Dispersion, otherwise called ready-mixed paste adhesives, is for wall use and found most commonly in the DIY domestic tiling market. They need to dry to develop adhesion. Cement-based adhesives are commonly used in the contract market for both wall and floor tiling. These bagged adhesives, when mixed with water, form a mortar, which sets and hardens. Reaction resin adhesives, commonly referred to as epoxy or polyurethane, are generally two-component systems which react together when mixed to gain adhesion. These are used in specialist areas. This very basic principle is important, as considerations such as the body of the tile type, its level of water absorption, the tile size or weight, the width of the grout joint, coupled with the porosity of the background or the end tiling situation, will affect your choice when specifying, especially for dispersion or paste products. Sulfate-containing materials can affect cement-based materials, leading to cracking, expansion and loss of strength and bond. In addition, aggressive pool water conditions, such as soft or acidic water, can lead to cement-based materials eroding. Both these factors can ultimately lead to failure. One cannot rely on the tiling and grout to protect the background and adhesive bed from the aggressive effects of the pool water. Let's take a look at the chemistry. Why do pool chemicals and water balance impact the specification? Why do certain water types have an effect on cement-based materials? Well, sulfates, for example, can affect cement-based products, leading to cracking, expansion, and loss of bond, which can ultimately lead to failure. The TTA document, Design and Construction of Swimming Pools, provides further information on water balance. Let's look at cement and the importance of water balance. Soft water is hungry and will dissolve calcium salts out of cement. Hard water is full of calcium salts and will deposit them in the form of scale. Therefore, it's important to ensure that the pool water is correctly balanced. The ideal pH range for a pool is 7.2 to 7.8 under balanced water conditions. As we continue through this CPD, we will build onto this initial framework. At the end of the day, although not a visible part, it's the correct choice of adhesive and correct installation that literally holds the overall project in place for years to come. In addition to the normal considerations when selecting an adhesive or grout, the following considerations are required when specifying for swimming pools. Quality of water supply. Pool water treatment chemicals. Avoid sulfate-containing chemicals. Pool water balance. Cleaning and maintenance chemicals. Avoid sulfate-containing and acid-based chemicals. Pool design, for example, water features, flumes, etc. Location of the tiling. More detailed guidance can be found on the ARDEX CPD Academy website, www.ardexcpdacademy.com. We will review the most common background and tile types and consider the challenges presented by today's tiling installations. We will discuss the solutions and how you can specify with confidence by reviewing the additional properties and opportunities that modern adhesive technology brings. Although we've addressed basic adhesion properties earlier, it's important to see that by adding additional polymers and formulating the products to suit given situations, we can develop a range of enhanced properties for adhesives and grouts for any installation. For example, we may start with a standard adhesive and modify the formulation to improve adhesion. Basic polymer-modified adhesives were developed in the late 1960s. We may start with a standard setting adhesive and develop to make it rapid setting, as we did in 1972. We may need less water staining on a tile or need to reduce the risk of warping, so we use rapid drying technology. We may start with a standard adhesive but realize that we need more flexibility due to thermal expansion when tiling onto heated screeds. Ultimately, we may have even added all these elements, but we want to deliver fail-safe technology and strength. So, we add additional elements and develop unique microtech performance, as we did in 2008. At this point, it's useful to familiarize ourselves with the classifications within the European standards for adhesives and grouts. Adhesives are firstly characterized by type, for example C, D or R, denoting cementitious, dispersion or reaction resin, then by their additional properties F, T, E. F denoting fast setting, T equals reduced slip, and E equals extended open time. Whether it be an adhesive or grout classification, a Level 1 product has normal characteristics, and a Level 2 product has additional characteristics. A C1 adhesive will have a minimum tensile strength of 0.5 newtons per millimeter squared, whereas a C2 will reach a minimum tensile strength of 1 newton per millimeter squared. In addition to this, there are also other properties such as enhanced slip, faster setting, or longer open time. It's important to point out that S2 adhesives, due to the fact that they are highly deformable, are not recommended for heavily trafficked areas, as stated in BS 5385. We can provide further technical guidance when required. C2TE S1 adhesive equals cementitious adhesive with additional properties, reduced slip and extended open time, which is deformable. Quality products will reach and be classified to the EN standards. However, the classifications only provide a guideline level of performance. Unique, high-performance fiber-reinforced technology products demonstrate considerable advances on the standards and provide exceptional real-life performance on site. These products, designed for tomorrow but used on many sites today, outperform the standards. Such products have even higher adhesion performance and can be classified as follows. For example, C2FT-TEE S1 adhesive. A real performance advantage which is not apparent if you were just to use the EN classification as a reference is the open time on site. For example, whereas a standard open time would be 20 minutes, an extended open time would be referred to as 30 minutes under laboratory conditions. In real-world site conditions, this could be much less. Unique, high-performance fiber-reinforced technology products outperform this basic benchmark of 30 minutes, with some having an open time of 60 minutes, double that stated as extended in the classification. These are clever products, easy to use and guaranteed to perform, so you can specify with confidence. These unique, high-performance fiber-reinforced technology products have been used on many prestigious projects and many difficult installations to date. Swimming pools must be designed and constructed to meet water tightness criteria in accordance with British Standard 8007, 1987. Which states that during the 7-day test period, the total permissible drop in water level, after allowing for evaporation, should not exceed 1/500th of the average water depth of the full tank. 10 mil or another specified amount, such as the Sparta standard of 12 mil. Note that ceramic tiling is in addition to, rather than a part of the tanking system. There are a number of different methods of construction which will achieve the water tightness criteria. General methods of pool construction include reinforced concrete blocks or reinforced patent blockwork. NB. Rendering becomes part of the watertight construction as stated in BS 8007, 1987. Spray applied concrete, e.g. gunite or shotcrete. Site-cast reinforced concrete should be installed in accordance with BS 8007. Cavity wall construction containing reinforced concrete. Structural movement joints should be avoided in the pool shell. Some concrete swimming pools, such as those with movable floors, may be so accurately constructed that they may be tiled directly to, without the need for a screed or render. Such concrete shells require high levels of accuracy in the construction and critical surface preparation for tiling. However, it's more common to specify a screed or render due to the degree of accuracy, tolerances and preparation work required for direct fixing. More guidance on pool surround construction can be found in BS 8007. The pool surround should be laid to falls, in the case of a deck-level pool, towards the deck-level channel, and freeboard pools away from the pool into drainage channels around the perimeter of the pool surround. These falls should be between 1 to 35 and 1 to 60, dependent on the width of the surround and the type of tiles to be used. The structural concrete should be set to falls and not the screed. If there are rooms adjacent to the pool surround, which are located below the pool surround level, there is a likelihood that water may migrate into these lower areas. In these cases, tanking is required between the pool surround slab, the tiling and any perimeter walls in order to avoid this occurring. It's also important to understand the backgrounds we need to bond our tiles to. and how they will affect your specification choice of adhesive. Always specify that backgrounds are free from debris, clean, sound, dimensionally stable, important when considering expansion and shrinkage, which can be caused by the effects of changes in moisture content. For example, avoid wood-based materials such as sheets and boards that expand or contract with changes in atmospheric humidity, as explained in BS 5385. Dimensionally stable is also important when considering movement under loads. A lack of rigidity of the supporting background will incur unacceptable deflections under loads and impacts. Ceramic tiling is a basically rigid finish and therefore requires rigid support. Background should also be level, dry, and appropriate for the given conditions. And remember, when specifying onto boards and membranes, always refer to the manufacturer's instructions. Let's take a look at the most common backgrounds and tile adhesive specification considerations. The need for adequate curing and drying times before tiling is essential for the concrete shell. BS 5385 Part 4 provides guidance on this. In general, the concrete shell must be watertight to BS 8007. Allow at least 6 weeks between casting and commencement of rendering tiling. Larger constructions and poor drying conditions will lead to extending times up to 6 months. In Northern Europe, the statutory drying time is 6 months. Prepare the surface for rendering and screeding. Ensure an accurate finish if direct fixing to the concrete is required. Allow the completed installation to stand for at least 3 weeks prior to filling the pool at the recommended rate, as stated in the British standards. The need for adequate curing and drying times before tiling is essential for renders and screeds. BS 5385 Part 4 again provides guidance on this. General guidance is provided as follows. Screeds to pool base should be bonded screeds. For finishing, use a wood float. Measure accuracy, which should be a 3 mm maximum gap under a 2 meter straight edge. Allow 7 days curing under waterproof sheeting, 3 weeks air drying. For Portland cement and sand screeds. After 7 days curing, allow at least 3 weeks drying time under good site conditions, 20 degrees centigrade and 65% relative humidity, before fixing ceramic tiles or natural stones. For cement and sand renders. The addition of a polymer dispersion is sometimes required with normal cement sand render. For finishing, use a wood float. Measure accuracy, which should be a 3 mm maximum gap under a 2 meter straight edge. 7 days curing under waterproof sheeting, 2 weeks air drying. In addition to these standard recommendations, it's worth noting that we have introduced some rapid hardening renders and screeds, which, assuming that the background is mature or has been allowed sufficient time to dry, can be tiled in hours and therefore save up to 4 weeks drying time. Some may be tiled after as little as 2 hours after application, even when applied at a thickness of 20 mm. Note, if the background is new and still shrinking, then a rapid hardening render will be of no benefit. In some cases, a rapid hardening and rapid drying render can be installed on proprietary mesh reinforcement systems over new backgrounds, so that the tiles can be installed 24 hours later. This procedure allows the background to continue to dry and shrink without affecting the applied materials. Traditional screeds require a minimum of 3 weeks prior to tiling. Background shrinkage and recommended drying times can cause practical timing problems on site. With this in mind, a number of rapid drying and rapid hardening screeds and renders have been formulated. Bonded screed rapid hardening screeds will allow installation after 3 hours. Concrete base must have finished shrinking 6 weeks minimum. Unbonded screed rapid drying screeds will allow installation after 24 hours, even if the concrete base is still shrinking. Floating screed rapid drying screeds will allow installation after 24 hours, even if the concrete base is still shrinking. Note that some high-performance screeds are only appropriate in dry locations. Rapid hardening renders will also allow tiling after just 2 hours. Always check for surface regularity as specified in BS 5385. A range of smoothing compounds are available if thinner layers need to be made up. Any holes can be filled with rapid repair mortar. As you need a flat base to tile on, smoothing compounds are an ideal, cost-effective way to achieve this. Some adhesives may be used for pre-smoothing. Although this is convenient, it may not be the most cost-effective method. Commonly, there are two types: two-part latex or powder water-based. Technical support is available to provide detailed guidance. Many compounds can be pumped at a rate of 300 to 400 meters squared per hour, ideal for large projects. Let's take a look at common tiling backgrounds in general leisure areas, away from the pool itself. Assess key considerations relating to the background. 1. What's the porosity of the background? 2. Is the background prone to movement, for example, dimensional stability, expansion and shrinkage, loading? 3. Is the background able to support weight of tiling? 4. What's the surface condition of the background? BS 8000, Workmanship on Building Sites, which is currently under review, contains useful information on drying times of backgrounds, surface regularity of backgrounds and the installed tiling, as well as differences in height either side of tile joints. It is important to allow backgrounds to fully dry out before tiling. What do you think happened here? Did the tiles get bigger or the background get smaller? The answer is the background got smaller. Here we'll provide guidance on the most common tiling backgrounds. Portland cement and sand screeds. After 7 days curing, allow at least 2 weeks drying time under good site conditions, 20 degrees centigrade and 65% relative humidity, before fixing ceramic tiles or natural stones. Gypsum-based screeds. Allow 1 week per 10 ml thickness drying time, up to 40 ml, at a relative humidity of 65% and a temperature of 20 degrees centigrade. No drying times can be considerably extended where the above conditions do not prevail or the gypsum-based screed thickness exceeds 40 ml. Cement and sand renders. Allow at least 2 weeks drying time under good conditions after 1 to 2 days curing, before fixing ceramic tiles or natural stones. For swimming pools, allow 3 weeks drying. Concrete. Allow at least 6 weeks drying time under good conditions. Mass concrete structures, for example swimming pool tanks, may take longer to dry. In Northern Europe, the statutory drying time is 6 months. For concrete blockwork, including aerated or brickwork, allow at least 6 weeks drying time under good conditions before rendering or direct fixing the tiles. Note that if rendered, the above drying times for render or plaster then apply, giving a total of at least 6 to 8 weeks. Plaster. Check the masonry background is dry before plastering, minimum 6 weeks. Plastering should be done in accordance with BS 5492 and modified in BS 5385 Part 1, Section 3.4. Then allow at least 4 weeks for gypsum-based plaster to dry. Don't forget, plaster is not a satisfactory base for tiling in wet locations. In these cases, a waterproof coating should be applied. Some plaster walls may be painted. Check that the paint is firmly adhered. Generally, a hard gloss paint will be able to be tiled over if firmly adhered to its background. Emulsion paints should be mechanically removed. In addition to these standard recommendations, it's worth noting that we have introduced some rapid renders which, assuming that the blockwork or brickwork is mature or has been allowed sufficient time to dry, can save up to 4 weeks drying time. Some may be tiled after as little as 2 hours after application, even when applied at a thickness of 20 ml. Note, if the background is new and still shrinking, then a rapid hardening render will be of no benefit. In some cases, a rapid hardening and rapid drying render can be installed on proprietary mesh reinforcement systems over new backgrounds so that the tiles can be installed 24 hours later. This procedure allows the background to continue to dry and shrink without affecting the applied materials. If timber is present, direct fixing should be avoided due to possible problems with moisture and dimensional stability. If timber is present, it should be oversheeted with a moisture-tolerant tile backer board or sheet system, for example, Wedi or Schluter. When tiling over existing tiling, ensure existing tiles are well bonded. Remove any loose or hollow-sounding tiles. Check that the underlying background will support 2 layers of tiling. Clean the tiles thoroughly and rinse off well prior to tiling over. Wood-based boards and timber floors. Direct fixing should be avoided due to possible problems with moisture and dimensional stability. If timber is present, it should be oversheeted with a moisture-tolerant tile backer board or sheet system. When tiling onto composite boards, check dimensional stability with board manufacturer. When tiling over heated floors, ensure heating systems and subfloor are commissioned prior to tiling, in line with BS guidance. Use adhesives which are suitable for underfloor heating. We have listed the most common backgrounds here. There are more. If in doubt, always seek technical guidance. The ideal substrate for tiling in leisure installations is render, concrete or concrete blockwork. Gypsum plaster, plasterboard and gypsum fiberboards are not suitable in wet locations. However, some of these backgrounds may be found in dry areas of a leisure complex. In such cases, it's always important to remember the guidance for wall tiling weight limits as follows. The maximum weight of tiling which can be supported by a dry, well-adhered gypsum plaster background is 20 kilos per metre squared. That is equivalent to ceramic tiles with a maximum thickness of 8 mm plus tile adhesive, or natural stone tiles with a maximum thickness of 7 mm plus tile adhesive. The weight of tiling direct to a plasterboard background should not exceed 32 kilos per metre squared. That is equivalent to ceramic tile and adhesive with a maximum thickness of 12.5 mm. A natural stone and adhesive with a maximum thickness of 10 mm. Hence, in general, it's always best not to skim plaster that will be tiled. It is important to emphasize that the weights quoted includes both the tile and adhesive. Let's move on to considerations relating to the installed environment. The variety of situations in which tiling is specified is endless, from a leisure centre foyer floor through to an Olympic pool, and all have issues to be considered, such as: where is the tiling to be installed? What will it be used for? Is it a dry area? Is it a wet area? Might the tiling be subject to aggressive conditions? Will the area be subject to heavy abrasion? Here we need to consider erosion of grout, particularly when dealing with water lapping areas. Will the area be a demanding environment? Here we need to consider that unbalanced or aggressive water can be damaging to grouts, adhesives and the pool structure. There's also the cleaning regimes, water balance and pool chemicals to consider, which may lead you to specify a reaction resin product. This is Windsor Pool, all mosaic tiling, using epoxide resin adhesive and grout, as the water was difficult to balance due to numerous water features. In wet locations and showers, the background should be water resistant. That is, they should retain their strength in wet and in dry conditions, so that the adhesion of the ceramic tiles and mosaics will not be affected under all conditions of exposure. For this reason, wood and plaster-based backgrounds are not generally used in wet areas. However, if a water-sensitive background has been specified, then one solution may be to apply a waterproofing tanking membrane. Note that all communal showers must have a tanking membrane specified. The recent trend to wet rooms and power showers has led to a greater need for waterproofing systems prior to tiling. The majority of wall backgrounds are moisture sensitive, such as plaster and plasterboard. This, coupled with high levels of water from today's power showers and complete wet room systems with water no longer contained in a preformed shower tray, places yet more challenges on the tiling specification. There is a difference between water-resistant and waterproof. Waterproof stops the transfer of water. Water-resistant means that water can pass through, but that it won't break the material down. Tile adhesives with enhanced properties tend to fall into the latter category and are water-resistant. Therefore, on their own, and when used with cement-based grouts, they will not halt the transfer of water to the background. Water penetration effects can be damaging to the background and lead to failures. BS 5385 Part 4 recommends tanking backgrounds in shower areas. To produce a watertight specification, add in a waterproof coating. Guaranteed to stop the transfer of water to the background, easy to apply, and it can be tiled on within 2 hours. Let's take a look at specifying tile grouts. This is the final, most visible part of the fixing process, and it's important to get it right. Beautiful tiles will look beautiful when grouted well. As with tile adhesive selection, it's equally important to consider the parameters of the tile and the finished environment. Although dispersion, ready-mix grout tend to be popular within the DIY sector, professionals will use a cementitious or reaction resin system due to a number of issues relating to ready-mix grouts. A highly polymer-modified grout may be required. Nowadays, it's more likely that the flexible polymers are built in or added as a bottle of admix. Consider water absorption levels of the tile. A porcelain tile will have a very low absorption, thus requiring a highly polymer-modified grout to bond to the tile edges. Remember, a natural stone may be moisture-sensitive, so a rapid dry technology grout should be selected. Also consider aggressive environments and whether a reaction resin grout is required. BS EN 13888 provides classification for grouts. Although both types of grouts are specified, the most commonly used are cement-based. Reaction resin grouts are usually epoxide-based and used in specialist areas such as swimming pool surrounds and specialist industrial locations. However, we continue to invest our resources in research and development to innovate and invent new technologies. We have a number of exciting innovations in the pipeline which we will be able to discuss in more detail in the near future. Whether it be an adhesive or grout classification, a Level 1 product has normal characteristics and a Level 2 product has additional characteristics, as explained earlier. Nowadays, modern production techniques enable us to produce a number of grout colours to suit most tastes. Through investment in R&D, we have designed grout formulations which retain their colour integrity, and through regulated production processes, raw materials, quality control systems, we are able to provide excellent colour consistency across the range. A useful tool when specifying is a grout colour selector, which clearly demonstrates the finished colour for your tiled specification. Specify cement-based grouts for hard water, balanced pool water, normal cleaning, changing rooms, ancillary areas. Highly polymer-modified cement-based grouts will be suitable where the pool water is hard and will be maintained and balanced at a calcium level over 250 milligrams per litre. In some circumstances, it may be necessary to specify a reaction resin grout, normally an epoxy. Specify reaction resin grouts. Soft water, aggressive pool water, intensive cleaning, areas prone to high levels of erosion, wave-making equipment, rapid water rides, beaches. In some circumstances, it's necessary to specify a reaction resin grout, normally an epoxy. This often depends on the mains water supply. For example, in soft water areas where the calcium content is below 250 milligrams per litre, or if it is not possible to maintain the pool water in a condition which will not be aggressive to cement-based adhesives and grouts, a reaction resin grout should be specified. Reaction resin grouts are impervious and resistant to acid and high pressures, therefore easier to clean and maintain. In areas of increased abrasion, for example where water is lapping at the edges of a pool, or even in multiple body jet showers, then it is advisable to opt for a reaction resin grout. Historically, these products have been viewed as difficult to use. However, modern formulations have evolved which are much more user-friendly. Exciting developments continue within the field of research and development, and we hope to have more innovative, impervious grouts to introduce to you in the near future. If in any doubt at all, always call on our technical support service. BS 5385 recommends the following best practice and minimum grout joints for tiles. Wall, 2 mm. Floor, 3 mm. Butt jointing of tiles is not recommended. Consider movement implications and, where necessary, the adhesive's ability to lose water through the tile joints to form an adequate bond. Always specify that grout joints must be adequately filled and cleaned off. Now we've covered some of the key considerations prior to commencing tiling, let's take a look at installation best practice. Firstly, we'll cover movement joints. Structural movement joints in the pool shell should be avoided. Movement joints should be situated over existing structural movement joints, where tiling abuts other materials, where tiling is continuous across junctions of other background materials, in large tiled areas at internal vertical corners, where stresses are likely to be concentrated. All movement joints should be incorporated in line with BS 5385. However, it's important at the design stage to consider the impact of the movement joints on the appearance of the finished ceramic tiling. Let's review the adhesive application. The size of notched trowel chosen depends on the surface being tiled, the profile on the back of the tile, and the degree of coverage required. For tiling walls in dry internal conditions, the adhesive contact should be a minimum of 50% of the back of the tile, ideally 75%. However, when tiling to floors, all external locations and wet areas such as showers and swimming pools, solid bed fixing should be achieved with 100% coverage to the back of the tile. It's advisable to lift a tile now and again to check solid bed fixing is achieved. Ensure that the adhesive has been applied in ribs and the back of the tile buttered with a thin layer of adhesive before it is firmly pressed into place with a twisting and sliding action, within the open time of the adhesive prior to a skin forming. This method of fixing allows full contact of the adhesive with the back of the tile and substrate. One method of achieving solid bed fixing is to butter the back of the tile. For floor tiling, however, with pourable adhesives, this is not necessary. We would never condone blob fixing of tiles. It often leads to cracking and delamination, as the tiles are subject to a lack of support and differential stresses. Having researched and produced the specification and contractor's guidance, once the project is underway, site visits are essential. Monitor best practice to ensure that your specification is followed. Future trip hazards, cracked tiles, etc. are avoided. Movement joints are incorporated. The background is as specified. The tiles are as specified. The adhesive installation is tiled with solid bed fixing using the advised trowels and specified products. The grout joints are as specified and adequately filled with the specified products and well cleaned off. The contractor is aware of COSH and health and safety on site. A cleaning and maintenance regime is observed, especially when specifying natural stone or where slip resistance is essential. In summary, we have reviewed the main considerations when specifying tiling in wet locations and the effect that issues such as pool chemicals, cleaning regimes and water balance can each have on adhesive and grout selection. We have looked at the pivotal role that the adhesive plays in the overall success of the leisure installation. We have reviewed products like Microtech are considerably advanced on the standards and provide exceptional real-life performance on site. These products were designed for tomorrow, but used on many sites today and outperform the standards. Clever products, easy to use and guaranteed to perform. With Microtech, you can specify with confidence. They have been used on many prestigious projects and many difficult installations to date. Tiles can create a perfect finish for leisure environments, of course, when they are specified and installed with guaranteed high-performance fixing systems.